Announcement, say a few words and then hand this to Marilyn. The 31st is our May all-day sitting at Open Sky. We're going to be doing a full moon ceremony, and which means the precepts. And please come if you can. I've been Every Day Zen is doing their sesshin this week, and my husband Bruce signed up for it, so I signed up for it to support him so we could do it together as I'm able. Long retreats are really important. They just are, and we can do this. So come to Open Sky, and hopefully we're doing a longer one at Pepperwood in September and a longer one at Open Sky, our Buddha's Enlightenment one in December. You have to taste the truth of the Tathagata's words. Precepts. We're having precepts next Tuesday, and it will be our last precepts class before we head into the summer. So if you would like to jump in, if you would like to refresh yourself, precepts are always an ongoing. So next Tuesday, 6:45 to 7:45. And I'll just remind us that this is one of our 4 texts, Taigen Dan Leighton's Faces of Compassion. We're spending a little bit of time. We're going to, as we go along, we'll keep salt and peppering this with bodhisattvas that are us, that are every day, that are what's it look like in this time and place. And we're starting with the traditional archetypal bodhisattvas. We did Samantabhadra. Well, we did Shakyamuni last Tuesday. We did Samantabhadra this Tuesday. Marilyn is going to tell us about Manjushri. Next Tuesday, we're doing Avalokiteshvara. So the whole gang is here. And can I just show them the statue? Of course. It's fun for me because I get to bring all my friends. So I just wanted to introduce you to, this is the Manjushri who sits right at my kitchen sink. There's a counter on Manjushri. There's actually, I never thought there's two sinks. Manjushri is right there cutting the 2 into 1. Manjushri is here every day reminding me. Well, Marilyn's going to tell us. If you have time, come and look at this beautiful Manjushri up close. I think he is a particularly beautiful one, but I'm a little attached. Okay, go. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Join audio if you want to speak. Okay.
No, don't.
Oh, sorry, I just did. Sorry.
Just undo it.
How do I do that? Let's see. Audio settings.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll see. The computer audio again, and just
Come over here.
have to show her how to do it down.
Okay, let me get it. So then let's somewhere in there. Let's see. Go back up. Keep going. Let's close that one. And then be back. Oh, you're not in. It says join audio. So just
Oh, okay.
You're good.
I'm all right.
yeah.
Thank goodness.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Good. All right. So good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Yeah, Chris showed us the beautiful statue image of Manjushri, and she also wanted to share with us some female versions of that by Mayumi Oda. Gretchen, could we put up that one that Chris brought for us?
Just
I'll give you a short preview. Oh. There she is on a bicycle. So classically, Manjushri is, let's see, is usually depicted as a male bodhisattva wielding a flaming sword in his right hand, representing the realization of transcendent wisdom. There we go. And let's see. And which cuts down ignorance and duality. And the scripture supported by the lotus in his left hand is the Prajnaparamita Sutra, the Heart Sutra, representing his attainment of ultimate realization from the blossoming of wisdom. Oh, I love that, the blossoming of wisdom. So, is there a flower? Is there? Okay, well, and you can see that she is, I hope she's not running over, no, she's not. The lion is running alongside of her, but he is always sitting on a lion. I don't see that.
Not this one.
Not this one, okay, maybe something else.
A lotus.
A lotus, oh, even better, okay.
But I just noticed in this one of Mayumi's in her right hand, I think that's the Prajnaparamita Sutra, and it's unfurled. It's like she's riding.
That's it, yes.
With the sutra wide open.
Right. I don't know if you can see that up at the top there. It's all unfurled, so she's riding her bicycle gleefully with this unfurled, heart sutra. I think that's a lovely image. And then, of course, in her left hand is the handlebar of the bicycle. Oh, okay, all right, well, we'll get into that. And then there's another image I'd like to share with you by Mayumi Oda, which we can't put up on screen because I only did this recently. Okay, Mayumi Oda, as you can see, is laying next to the lion with the sword resting. Let's see. Yeah, the sword is resting by her side. And then there's the lotus over here. All right, and she looks like she's just dreaming and captivated by this whole essence of the Prajnaparamita. I'm gonna pass these around. All right, thank you. Have a look. So the lion, she's often depicted as riding or seated on a blue lion or sitting on the skin of a lion. And this represents the use of wisdom to tame the mind, which is compared to riding or subduing a ferocious lion. And I know we often talk about monkey mind in our meditation, where our mind just goes in different places, and maybe we think about things that emphasize our dualistic thinking. So the lion is like taming that, come back down to earth. So let's see. Prajnaparamita, or the perfection of wisdom texts, are said to be the closest Buddhists ever got to putting truth, an impossible task, into words. Manjushri, as meditation experience, is a powerful image representing ever-present wisdom plus the sword of awareness to cut off all delusion. There's a cute story about Soko Morinaga Roshi once told the story of when his teacher, probably Goto Zuigan, ordered a new statue of Manjushri for his monastery. And when the statue was delivered, Zuigan asked the carver, "But where is the scabbard for the sword?" This caused a bit of a panic because the carver's family had been making these statues for over 300 years and never made mistakes. But after a bit, Zuigan laughed and said, "Not to worry, Manjushri never puts away his sword." That's a good one. So, as Chris was mentioning earlier, when she was talking about Samantabhadra, in Japan, the Buddha sits in the Buddha hall above above us meditators. But Manjushri is placed at the level that we are, where we sit, and is often seated on a noble and courageous lion, holding a scroll of prajna wisdom or a lotus in one hand and a sword in the other. And he's Rafe Martin talked about this and something Chris sent me about how he's sitting at our level. All right, not in the Buddha, but at our level, to remind us that, you know, these are accessible potentialities that we have to see through duality and attachment to our ignorance and delusion. And those two words I'm going to come back to in just a moment. Forgetting the self through attention to the practice is Manjushri's realm. This is not a matter of avoiding our emotions or of sidestepping or suppressing our individuality. Rather, it is like seeing a golden sunrise or a star-filled night and, odd, momentarily forgetting ourselves. It is like coming home. Clinging to thoughts of me and myself and I never seem to bring us the joy or security we long for. Aren't our best moments those in which we've forgotten ourselves? A glorious sunset stretches across the twilight. A mountain peak emerges from the clouds. The taste of tea awakens our tongue, and we are momentarily gone. Does that sound familiar? Gate, gate, parasangate, bodhisattvas. There it is. We're momentarily gone. So, to repeat, Manjushri is the Bodhisattva of wisdom and insight, penetrating into the fundamental emptiness, universal sameness, and true nature of all things. His name means noble, gentle one. He who sees into the essence of each phenomenal event. This essential nature is that not a thing has any fixed existence, separate in itself, independent from the whole world around it. Again, that's the Heart Sutra. Okay. Wisdom is to see through the illusory self-other dichotomy, our imagined estrangement from the world. Studying the self in this light, Manjushri's flashing awareness realized the deeper, vast quantity of self, liberated from all our commonly fabricated characteristics. So insight involves going within, seeing the fundamental. This energy, exemplified by Manjushri, is about pulling wisdom out of the depths of oneself, about being an open channel for the awakening of Buddhahood to express itself. Manjushri's wisdom arises not from external knowledge or accomplishment, but out of concentrated inner vision. As I understand it, that means samadhi. And it is an inalienable, I love this. It is an inalienable endowment always available to us, awaiting our settling into and uncovering of this deeper awareness. So what this means to me is that this potential of seeing through our ignorance and delusion, this potential exists in all of us. It exists in all of us. All we have to do is concentrate. How do we do that? Well, meditation, of course. Now, seeing Manjushri's insight into emptiness, one can realize a wider perspective into the ephemeral, short-lived non-reality of our cherished views and objectives. Developing such non-attachment can be a great relief from the pressures of the world of striving and desire. It is a tool for seeing through our unexamined ignorance. And here, I want to take just this word ignorance really kind of bothers me. You know, it's a very charged word in my mind. And, you know, we say, oh, those are people, or they're ignorant, they don't know anything. But to me, it means to ignore. It means to ignore the fact that we live, or to ignore the existence of non-duality, to ignore the fact that we are not separate from each other. And being deluded is the same thing, deluding ourselves into thinking that we are separate from each other. So that's what I wanted to address, is that word ignorance, which to me is really heavily charged. Anyway, okay. So Manjushri holds the Prajna Paramita in his left hand to always remind us of the Heart Sutra that asks us to open our eyes to our self-created obstacles of ignorance, which are so persistent and intractable. Here, yeah, let's see. All right. So this is what I love about Manjushri, is that one of his foremost roles is as a bodhisattva of poetry, writing, and all the uses of language. Okay, and that's a particular love of mine. So I'm glad that Chris gave me this particular bodhisattva. All right, so one of the primary catalysts of human ignorance and delusion is language. Look at that. Okay. The patterns of our conventional thought processes are established and learned through our languages. Our sense of separation is strengthened through the syntax that separates subject and object. So in our language, using our subject verb object syntax, we come to see ourselves as agents acting on a dead world of objects, or we see ourselves as dead, powerless objects being acted upon. We fail to recognize that the whole world is alive, vibrant, totally interconnected, and dancing with prajna. Manjushri works to reveal our enslavement by language and to liberate language and use it to express the deeper realities. So think about this, I love this. So think about, I see the tree, subject, verb, object. And Tagon says that this syntax separates us from the object. I see the tree, separation. Okay. Or I give a gift to Donna. Donna gives a gift to me, or a gift was given to me by Donna. The passive voice is also a means of separation. So Manjushri asks us to look beyond that and to look beyond this subject verb object idea of our language. And where was I going with this? Also, we are these days dealing with the use of pronouns. All right. So she, he. Okay, we're having issues with that these days. So how do we identify ourselves? That is a kind of separation, isn't it? When we identify someone as being this one gender. Think about that. So we're getting away from that in our modern world by introducing the pronoun they to maybe turn that idea of separation on its head. And I kind of like that. All right, that's I think Manjushri would approve. Okay. So Manjushri liberates language by showing how it can be used to express non-dual understanding without being caught by its confusions. His language in some sutras involves unpacking the forms of linguistic delusion. And let's see here. This is over preparation. Let's see. Okay. So in this little passage from Dan Layton's, Ty Van Layton's book. So Manjushri arrives to see the Buddha and inspires a gathering of the assembly in order to share his contemplation of the Buddha. And so the following excerpt is from this discourse, giving the flavor of Manjushri's orations, beginning with the Buddha questioning Manjushri. So Buddha asks, how should one abide in the paramita of wisdom when cultivating it? And Manjushri answered, abiding in no dharma is abiding in the paramita of wisdom. The Buddha asks Manjushri further, why is abiding in no dharma called abiding in the paramita of wisdom? Manjushri answered, because to have no notion of abiding is to abide in the paramita of wisdom. Okay, they're playing with language here again. The Buddha asked Manjushri further, if one thus abides in the paramita of wisdom, will his good roots increase or decrease? Sound familiar? Okay, Manjushri answered, if one thus abides in the paramita of wisdom, his good roots will not increase or decrease, nor will any dharma, nor will the paramita of wisdom increase or decrease in nature or characteristic. And Manjushri continues, world honored one, when one who thus cultivates the paramita of wisdom will not reject the dharmas of ordinary people, nor cling to the dharma of saints and sages. Why? Because in the light of the paramita of wisdom, there are no dharmas to cling to or reject. And this is the Heart Sutta, all again and again and again. Moreover, one who cultivates the paramita of wisdom in this way will not delight in nirvana or detest samsara. Why? Because he realizes there is no samsara, let alone rejection of it, and no nirvana, let alone attachment to it. World honored one, to see that no dharma arises or ceases is to cultivate the paramita of wisdom. To see that no dharma increases or decreases is to cultivate the paramita of wisdom. To aspire to nothing and to see that nothing can be grasped is to cultivate the paramita of wisdom. Furthermore, if a person, when cultivating the paramita of wisdom, does not see any paramita of wisdom and finds neither any Buddha dharma to grasp, nor any dharmas of ordinary people to reject, that person is really cultivating the paramita of wisdom. So, right, let's see. So, just to tie that together, the transcendent practices most emphasized by the Manjushri archetype are wisdom, meditation, and ethical conduct. Manjushri shows us that these perfections are interrelated and how they support each other. Intent samadhi is a form for perfecting wisdom. Here, samadhi is defined as the highest state of meditative consciousness, a state of profound stillness where the meditator, the act of meditation, and the object of meditation become one, creating a non-dualistic experience. This steady looking within, settling into our deepest intention, can lead us to our own inner wisdom. And before I get into the archetypes that Tygun wrote about, for Einstein, Bob Dylan, etc., interesting stuff. This is a passage from the Plum Village website that Chris showed us on Tuesday for Samantabhadra. And here is the passage that relates to Manjushri. So the title of this webpage was Touching Our Inner Goodness. Touching Our Inner Goodness. I really like that. And Manjushri here is the Bodhisattva of great understanding or wisdom. So he says, we invoke your name, Manjushri. We aspire to learn your way, which is to be still and to look deeply into the heart of things and into the hearts of people. We will look with all our attention and open-heartedness. We will look with unprejudiced eyes. We will look without judging or reacting. We will look deeply so that we will be able to see and understand the roots of suffering and the impermanent and selfless nature of all that is. We will practice your way of using the sword of understanding to cut through the bonds of suffering, thus freeing ourselves and other species. Manjushri Bodhisattva represents great understanding. When you pay respect to the qualities of great wisdom and understanding, you are paying respect to Manjushri, and at the same time, you are paying homage to these qualities in yourself. Okay, I love that. And okay, just a few minutes, and then we'll have time for paired work. Chris asked us to talk about archetypes that embody Manjushri's wisdom and features. And Taigun writes about, and I don't have time to go into everybody today, Albert Einstein, Bob Dylan, Gertrude Stein, and Gloria Steinem. So he says, each in their own way cut through delusion, whether through incisive language, visionary social critique, or radical scientific insight, which embodies Manjushri's archetypical clarity, creativity, and wisdom. With his focus on the teaching of emptiness and the obstructions we face from holding on to fixed views, Manjushri takes on new shapes to dispel attachments. So just very briefly, Taigun wrote a lot about Albert Einstein. He says he's a classic example of the Manjushri archetype. Einstein's theory of relativity is a particularly good example of emptiness. The emptiness or absence of any isolated inherent self-identity in all things may be expressed in terms of seeing into the fundamental interrelatedness or relativity of all things. Perhaps all atomic physicists might be included here, seeing into the elemental nature of matter. But Einstein's theory of relativity could be translated from Manjushri's teaching of shunyata, or emptiness. The emptiness or absence of any isolated inherent self-identity in all things may be expressed in terms of being into the fundamental interrelatedness of all things. Let's see, and just a short little thing here. Right. Einstein's oft-quoted remark after the first use at Hiroshima of the atomic bomb that he helped to create was that, quote, everything has changed except our way of thinking, unquote. It is precisely the changing of beings' ways of thinking that might be defined as the essence of Manjushri's Bodhisattva's works. Cutting through attachments to our ingrained modes of thought about our lives and the world. Okay. And let's see. we have, oh, just a few minutes about Bob Dylan. And he writes a great deal about Bob Dylan and his lyrics. And just very quickly, Dylan's intuitive understanding of fundamental spiritual dialectics. In other words, and I had to look up what dialectics meant. It resolves contradictions between opposing ideas to arrive at the truth. And a good example of that was Suzuki Roshi's "You are perfect just the way you are, but you could use a little improvement." That's a dialectic. Yes. So Dylan uses a lot of these dialectics in his lyrics. And let's see. For example, Dylan said, "The country music station plays soft, but there's nothing to turn off." Oh, you know the lyrics. Oh, okay. Touch base with Gretchen if you want the full picture. Okay. Thank you. Is an incisive expression of the reality of every form as empty and open, with no fixed reality to turn off or avoid. Ooh, I get tingles. Ugh. The clear, open truth is ever present, right in the background voices and laments. Forms need not be obliterated to find their emptiness. So another Dylan line, "Are birds free from the chains of the skyway?" is a haunting Zen-like utterance, appropriately phrased as a question, penetrating the gossamery web of causation and mutual conditioning in which we are enmeshed, even while we hear the chimes of freedom. Do you hear the chimes of freedom? Anyway. I'm so over-prepared, I have to stop right there. Okay, so we have 10 minutes. We're gonna stop at 11:15 for service. And maybe you could get into pairs. 2, 4, 6, 8 or so. Let's see. To discuss were there any takeaways you heard today with regard to Manjushri and the aspects of practice that he represents? Or you can maybe also talk about, what does wisdom mean to you? What does wisdom mean to you? So let's take